Hi, welcome back to the A&S Way. It is Friday after Memorial Day weekend and I have decided to take the day off today. And what are we doing?
We actually don't know. We're going to film two videos, I think. One is the 5 best things to do in Las Vegas, and that's going to be this video. And then I think we're filming pros and cons of living in Vegas, the US, compared to the UK as well. We haven't really planned it out, so we're going to go
with the flow.
Yeah, go down to the Strip, maybe end up at the Las Vegas sign, which we've actually never been to, even though we live here and we've travelled here maybe 4 or 5 times. We've never actually been to the sign. Normally it's really busy, but what's the time?
It's about coming up to 9 now.
Before 9 o'clock, so we're hoping everybody's either drunk, hungover, drugged over, eating, or at work, so it might be clear. And it has been this last few days, absolutely baking.
Yeah, swap.
So it's, what do you reckon it is? I haven't checked this morning.
I reckon it's at least 36, 7 at the moment.
Oh wow, nice. Not usually that hot in the morning. It's 31.
Okay, it feels hot already, you can tell.
She doesn't get out that much in the morning, so I know roughly. So it's 31 at the moment, it's going up to 40.
Yeah, very hot at the moment.
Yeah, it's baking. There's an excessive heat warning at the moment. So we're going to jump in the car, get it cooled down, and then head off to our first location. We thought we would cheat the queues. Now, probably need to get here at 7. You might not be able to see it on camera, but it's already fairly busy here. Not as busy as it would be at 12 o'clock, but still pretty busy for 9 o'clock on a Friday morning.
Yeah, so we are at, because Anton hasn't actually mentioned, we are at the Las Vegas sign, which is an iconic place to come to if you're ever visiting the Strip, and it's our #1 place to ensure you come to when you come to Vegas, the Strip.
Well done. Yeah, so #1 is the Las Vegas Strip, and this is the new Strip, not the old Strip, which is Fremont Street.
So this is the Strip that has the MGM, Bellagio, Caesar's Palace. If any of you are Friends fans, that's where they filmed Friends, and there's loads. I mean, you could literally spend a day in one casino here and not see all of it.
And each casino has a show, or most of the casinos have a show, or some sort of special feature like a comedy club, or a pool party, or a club.
Cirque du Soleil is very popular here.
So Jabberwockies as well.
Yeah, dancing. So whatever you're into, whether you're into a particular singer, Celine Dion.
One of our friends took her boyfriend to Celine Dion. I'm not sure it went down so well.
She liked it, he didn't like it so much. But there's genuinely a lot to do, and it's a great base if you're coming on holiday here, and we highly recommend it. And most people do come to the sign to get the iconic picture with it.
First time we've been here. And as a side note, next to this Las Vegas sign, there's actually a private airport, and I think this is where a lot of the helicopters take off for the Grand Canyon tour.
Yeah, and that's another kind of thing that people love to do when they come to Vegas. FYI, the Grand Canyon isn't actually that close.
It's in Arizona. It starts, neighboring state.
Yeah, so you can do a helicopter tour, which is probably the quickest way to get there, but it is quite expensive per person as opposed to driving. But then if you're driving, you need a good 4 hours to get there.
Yeah, so factor in a 4-hour trip there and 4 hours back, plus the time it takes to. You don't even get to walk around it, it's so big, but a couple of hours there just to see some of it, like the visitor center.
And actually not one of our things that we would, in our top 5 things to do, but definitely come to this Strip. It's an amazing place, and I would say it's a spectacle is the best way to describe it.
You got your sound on, haven't you?
Yeah.
So this is the queue for the Las Vegas sign, and all people are queuing for it so they can actually take a picture with it. So for us, it's not that necessary. We can come at any time if we want to take a picture, but I will zoom in for you.
One thing we forgot to mention about the Strip is definitely you must do a buffet. It's one of the things that is super popular here, and lots of the major casinos, so Caesar's have it, Bellagio, Cosmopolitan Hotel, all have these world famous buffets.
Which one are we doing?
We are doing the Wicked Spoon one in Cosmopolitan tomorrow actually, and I'm super excited about it. It's $38 I think per person, and they have a drinks package which is $20, and you have unlimited mimosas, champagne or beer, which I think is very good value.
Yeah, I would say, and I like value, I would say these buffets are definitely good value if if you went to another restaurant, you're going to spend far more than you would just paying for the buffet.
Yeah, and different ones are different prices. So I think the Caesar's Palace one is more like $50, $60. I'll check the prices. So they're all kind of different ranges. And it's something that I've been to Vegas many times, and I did not know about the buffets until you mentioned it, actually.
Yeah.
Probably the 5th time.
So believe it or not, I know we said this before, Selena does not use or watch YouTube really. It's
I didn't used to.
Yeah, something that you've had to learn over time, whereas I've always watched YouTube since it was born, essentially.
Yeah,
so
true.
because I've been watching it and watching people go there and eat, I mentioned it to her. But we've only done
Only one.
Wow.
Caesar's Palace Bechamel Buffet, and there was a Groupon offer at the time, which made it a lot cheaper. But they only just opening, so during the pandemic, most of them closed down, and they're starting to open up.
So you can see, even though we've said the Strip, the main thing we focus on and talk about is food. Our whole life revolves around food. So there is a lot to do on the Strip other than food, but it's probably one of our favourite things.
Yeah, and a key thing to do, so if you do come here, make sure to do a buffet.
Number 2 on our list is Fremont Street, which we mentioned in number 1. So it's the second part of Vegas, or the original Vegas, and there's a lot you can do here. It's a little bit more, you might have seen in the background of the last shot, there was a guy sleeping, nodding from drugs. It's a little bit more authentic, rustic.
And I didn't come here until my 2nd or 3rd trip to Vegas, and I didn't know about the place until someone mentioned it. And this was, and I think I mentioned this in one of our other vlogs, this is what I imagine Vegas to be in terms of the casinos. The main Las Vegas Strip is very modern.
Very polished.
Yeah. Glitzy.
Yeah, very glitzy.
Expensive. It just has a very different feel, whereas this is very retro.
You've got lots of street performers. So if you're used to going into London towards Trafalgar Square, or not Trafalgar Square, Leicester Square, you see the street performers, people drumming. It's very similar to that here. Usually high on drugs. It's very drug fueled, unlike the Strip, which is, but it's
it probably is, but you don't notice it as much. And it's just got a very nice feel here. And the main bit has activities that you can do, such as zip lining, which will show lots of different performers.
Well, actually, you'll be able to see the start of it is
here.
Up there.
We haven't done it, but if you do, Ant has mentioned that there's Groupon offers that you can use to do that.
A lot of the stuff in Vegas is quite expensive, but nearly everything is available on Groupon. So if you go on there, you usually get between 20 and 40% off. So I think the zip line is about 30% less than if you bought the ticket here.
Yeah, so activities, food, definitely if you want to save a bit more money when you come out to Vegas, use Groupon.
Anything else they can do here?
Gamble your money away.
Oh yes, it's got a lot of the classic casinos, and we did a video here a couple of weeks back, so I'll put a link somewhere. But there's casinos like the Golden Nugget, which is probably one of the most well-known casinos around.
Yeah, and there's lots of food, restaurants, bars. It's just similar to the Strip, but in a completely different vibe and feel, I would say.
But if you venture, what I would say is you need to be careful in Vegas all the time, whichever part of Vegas you're in. But here in particular, especially when it gets busy, you could easily get pickpocketed here versus the Vegas Strip, I think, which is a little bit safer.
Don't have things in your pockets, or have a bag like mine, like this, which you could just keep in front, and no one's going to steal anything from you.
That's that.
Just finishing our experience on Fremont Street. So in order to not pay for parking, so you can get free parking in most of the casinos here, but you have to validate it. And in order to validate your parking, you need to at least be eating in the casinos or gambling, of course. So we thought we'll go to a slot machine.
Yeah, I enjoy the slot machines. They're the easiest way to lose money, but I've been really fortunate in that I not always win, but I win more than I lose. So my first spin, I won $97 when I arrived. And then I've won 80, 50, so I've definitely won more than I've lost.
But we're not trying to make out that if you do this, that
you're definitely going to lose over time. But I also don't have that natural pull of, I've won, let me just keep spinning. So we spun about 7 spins.
Yeah.
Managed to win 6. We won $8, then it was like $4, and then Selena said to me, "You're going to win on the next spin." I said, "But we just won on this one." Pressed it, and we won the major, which was 44. So we've actually come out now with free parking because we got validated, and another $30, which will buy our lunch tonight.
Yeah, all good. trying to get out of the Queen's casino parking at the moment. And this is another thing about the US. In the UK, you have a parking ticket, you pay for your parking ticket, you put it into a machine, it's automated, you go. But it's very common here to have parking attendants where you have to physically pay.
Yeah,
or give your
feels like job creation.
Yeah.
But what happens is, we are now, there's some issue, whether it's the person not wanting to pay or the bar or whatever, we are now stuck. The queue is now backing all the way up at least one level of the car park because nobody can now move anywhere instead of just having an automated ticket.
Yeah, let me show you.
And now people are getting very upset. But this is genuinely, so you combine this with the finances, with the checks and that, and I'm not promoting it. You can see why people, if you're having a really bad day, it would be really easy to just lose your cool in these situations.
Yeah.
And if you've happened to have had to go to the bank, get a cashier's check, queue, it's lunchtime, and then you come to a parking tent, it could go very wrong really easy. Maybe you've even been to the DMV as well.
Yeah, on top of that. Oh, we're finally moving. It just doesn't make sense.
No,
what's going to happen now? Well, we've made it to our third place that we recommend coming to, or things to do in Vegas, and that is coming to Lake Mead and the Hoover Dam area.
So there's a lot you can do here. It's a little bit away from the strip, it's about half an hour, roughly.
Yeah, ish.
About that. If you're doing a tour here, so for example, you can do kayaking in, they call it Hoover Dam kayaking, but it's the lake really. They take you out for, I think you can do a full day or half a day. They feed you lunch. They give you some of the history of how this got built, how the dam got built, how they measured the water level, and people lived in these weird little huts for months or years, which is quite scary. How they got some of their supplies across the river or the lake. I remember a lot of it.
You've done it twice.
Yeah. So if you do something like that, they'll actually, you pay your $130 and they'll pick you up from a designated hotel. So even if you're staying in the Paris, it might be the MGM, for example, will be your pickup point. So you'll go there for 8 o'clock. They pick you up, bring you here, take you out on the kayaks. And then I think there's some other tours, like the actual Hoover Dam tour, which we can't do at the moment because it's closed.
And then Lake Mead in general has lots of things to do. So we've been here, I think in one of our updates, I think one of our first updates we done here, there's hiking trails, you can go biking, there's beaches. So we haven't actually explored most of Lake Mead. So we've done a couple of tours here, but we've hiked for a mile.
Yeah, but we do plan on coming back. For the people that watch our other stuff, our stuff should actually be here from the shipment next week, which will mean, which will mean I'll get my bike and you'll get your bike, so then we can stick it on the car. I've already tried to book in to get the tow hitch put on so we can bring our bikes here and ride around. But what else have we got here? So there's
beaches, there's the marina, so there's
tours
and cruises that you can do. There's actually, there's lots of different activities you can do at Lake Mead, so it just depends what you like doing.
A tip, we didn't know this, but some of the areas are free to get into. This part that we've come into here is a paid area, and we keep our, what's it called, Great America
Beautiful Pass?
America the Beautiful Pass in the car. So that actually got us in here without having to pay the $9 or $11 fee.
Yeah, so that's for a pass for all the national parks in the US, and definitely worth buying for the year.
For us, I mean, we live right next door to
Red
Rock,
Rock,
and we're half an hour from here, so we'll definitely get the use out of it, especially as it's $11 or $15 per entrance.
And then plan to visit many more national parks across the US too. But highly recommend coming out here. It's a nice day trip out, and you get to experience some of the extra wind that Vegas has.
Yeah, Vegas in general is very windy, as we keep saying, but here in particular, because of the lake and you can see all of the valleys and rocks and peaks, the wind gets funneled quite hard through here. Last time we were here, we could barely hear each other. We decided to come a little bit further down than where we were, so we've never been here before, and it's actually really nice. So there's picnic areas, actual campsites where you can bring your tent and camp, RV area, and then a beach that runs, I don't know how far, but a good probably 2 kilometres, you reckon?
Yeah, I would say.
1 to 2 kilometres. They've built as a beach that goes into Lake Mead, and people have come down here with their kayaks, their boats, their jet skis, their power boats. It's actually a really nice area.
And I've always wondered, because as Ant mentioned, when you come in, you have to pay a fee to get in, and obviously we used our pass, but I always wondered what was here and thought we'd come and explore. So this is Boulder Beach, and it's literally got stones and boulders here. So I do remember reading some reviews for here and people saying, oh, how rocky it is. Well, I think it's in the name.
Yeah, the clue is in the name.
For number 4 in our things to do in Vegas, we have picked one of our favourite places.
And also the closest to home. Our home is literally there.
Which Anne didn't know at first. It's like, oh, I didn't realise we lived so close.
I mean, you pass our exit and it's maybe 3-minute drive to this point.
Yeah.
If that.
And that's Red Rock Canyon. It's one of when I first came here to Vegas, I visited here and I loved it straight away. And this is where I would always say to people, there is far more to Vegas than just the Strip. And I just think the place is just so pretty.
Yeah, it's also one of my favourite places. So you can not only hike, there's miles and miles of hiking. You can take your bike in there. If you don't go directly into Red Rock, there's Calico Basin. So the whole area is an area to explore. And it's super cheap. So if you're doing one trip here, it's $15 per car. And as we've mentioned, if you buy the year pass, I think it's $100 for the year pass.
Something like
and that gives you unlimited access to all of the US national parks.
But Red Rock itself is a scenic loop. I think we've shared with you when we've been to the Valley of Fire, which is also great. But with Red Rock, it's really easy. You follow this scenic route round. You can stop at various locations. We will film there one day, so we will show you what Red Rock is like. But each section is quite unique in the scenery, environment, and me and Ant done one hike there. We actually spent, what did we do, a 2-hour hike?
Yeah, we
maybe?
did probably about 2 hours, yeah.
And it was really, really nice, and you just can't imagine what's there. It's highly recommended. You have to do it.
So even though all you can see around us is rocks and mountains, as you get about a mile into the hike, it turns into a forested area, which I'm assuming whenever this was, it was the basin of a river, a lake, an ocean, who knows, because it's very fertile there. So you get nice big trees, green. And one other thing here is anybody that's into model aircraft, as you approach Red Rock Canyon, there's an actual, I don't know, it's probably a good 200-meter model aircraft airport hangar runway. It's actually really cool, and there's people just setting up there now. Before we get on to our 5th and final thing to do in Las Vegas, you might have noticed that we've gone to every location on the same day, and that just shows you how easy it is to get around. Now in miles, they're not that close.
No.
I think the last place we went was 45 miles, so Lake Mead from here, but there's no traffic, nothing holding you up. So if you're on holiday, you might not be able to get them all in, but you might be able to get in 2 or 3 of those. For example, Las Vegas Strip, Fremont, eating.
I mean, this is something I would say. In the UK, I often hear about people saying, oh, we'll just do a 3-day short trip to Vegas for a boys' weekend or a girls' weekend away, or a short trip.
Yeah.
I don't recommend doing that. I think that's a terrible idea because by the time you're spending out that money on the flight and hotels, make the most of it. So I definitely do not recommend coming here for just 3 nights because there is so much to do. And I would say at least a minimum of 5 nights. You can easily spend a whole week or 10 days here. And then you can definitely do all the 5 things that we are about to mention on the final one.
So our 5th one is
going to the North Premium Outlets in Vegas. And there, I make that distinction because there are 2 places you could, 2 main places here, 2 Simon malls. They're outlets with the designer clothes at much cheaper prices. And there's the North and South, but the North one is the best one to go to.
I'd say go to both. I think as long as you're hitting one of the outlets here, and the main reason is it's very, very cheap to shop here in general. People complain about the sales tax, it's 8%. Anyone from Europe knows we pay anywhere from 19 to 21%, so it's super cheap here. On top of getting cheaper clothes, you're then shopping at an outlet that has the discount booklet that we mentioned in our previous videos, which gives you anything from 10 to 30% additional off. And
Ant's right, definitely do both, but the reason I would say do the North one if you're you're limited on time is because the south one you're indoors and it's quite depressing and dark, and I really don't like it.
Yeah, that's right. I was actually confusing two. There's another place called Town Square, which is actually really nice.
But it's not an outlet.
But it's it's not an outlet,
and it's not that cheap.
So she's right. Go to the North Premium outlets. So that's our
5 things to do. So visit the Strip, the main Las Vegas Strip.
While you're visiting the Strip, make sure you have a buffet.
Yeah, eat well, feed yourself, fuel. Obviously the shows and everything, lots to do there. We've got Fremont Street, which is what we've said is the more retro, old style Vegas.
Get to live in the past, and you get to experience, if you really want, there's a lot of shows and outdoor performances that are free. You can throw them a tip if you want. You get to experience the homeless and the drug use, so you're getting an authentic Vegas experience. Number 3
was Lake Mead and Hoover Dam area. Get away from the Strip, the hustle and bustle, and actually a engineering marvel as well.
Yeah, it is, the Hoover Dam itself, and then the lake as well. It's amazing. Number 4 is right where we are now, so that's Red Rock Canyon.
Where I consider home, actually.
It is home.
we live in the base of the mountain, so every day we wake up, we can see the Red Rock Mountains, and I love it.
And then number 5 is for those people that enjoy shopping. And even if you don't, like me, I actually enjoy shopping in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and especially if you do go to the outdoor outlets, it's really nice, it's open, you can get your drink, your food, you can casually shop, and it's cheap.
And they've got a cheesecake factory if you're into that. People seem to queue, they love it.
But I'm making an assumption here that women are slightly more into shopping here, but it's really cheap, whatever bags you're into, shoes, clothes. Highly recommend saving your money and waiting till you come.
Well, in fact, that's what we used to do.
Yeah.
We used to not shop in England. I mean, there was a point where I hadn't shopped in the UK for about 5 years because we come to the States once a year. I would just wait and buy everything here and take it home.
And for me, for work, when I used to have to dress smart, and I don't have to anymore, I used to buy a lot of my clothes, like for Calvin Klein. I don't know. Did someone say help?
No, they're just screaming. They're having a good time.
They're having a good time. I used to get a lot of my clothes from Calvin Klein, super cheap bags, and it's great. And also for shopping for Christmas as well.
So if you found any of this useful, make sure you give us some thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Our subscription is actually nearly 50-50. I think it's 55-45. After a weird blip for a week, YouTube analytics went crazy. So if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe. Thanks.